I'm John McGinnis from Usage Tap. Today I want to show you some open source work I'm doing to help improve prompt compression. Now, we pay a smaller amount than output tokens for input tokens in our applications, but it can still add up. Now, in the early days of 2024, we used to worry, or in 2025, we used to worry about keeping our output responses short. But what sort of happens in 25 and 26 was that we started really adding a lot more context to our prompts. And as that grew, so did the cost that we used to pay for input tokens. Now, the model vendors allow you to cache input tokens as long as they don't change. So, that's a no-brainer to add caching. But there's also a lot of verbosity in the text that we're sometimes summarizing. If you've got a meeting transcript, for instance, there's a lot of filler words like and and needless words. So we should be able to strip them out. And I want to show you where I'm heading along that route. So again, built into Usage Tap, which manages usage-based billing, we added automatic compression of the input costs, input tokens, when you actually generate when you pass and call the model itself. You can sort of say, let's compress the input, and it hands you back compressed results. Now, in my products that make a lot of LLM calls, what I found was I wanted to be able to opt in. So where I inject the context, and that context is always injected at the bottom. Why? Because we want the vendor caching to be stable at the top. So often what I do, and PromptOpsKit is the library, and that's open source as well. Just go to promptopskit.com, is it allows me to include and inject data at runtime when I'm building the prompt. But I've added the ability to compress or to take JSON data and automatically convert it to a more compact form using the TOON library, or to take sort of source code and HTML code and compact it by removing unnecessary white space without changing the meaning of the text. So out of the box right now, if you want to use it, PromptOpsKit, you can go to promptopskit.com and grab it. And it does these heuristic tools. But there is some prior research on how to compress prompts on the fly before we run them. And this saves you money because you don't send needless words which get tokenized and you get charged for those input tokens. By compressing the actual context, you actually end up with a better result as well. So that's what this LLM Lingua 2, which was some research out of Microsoft, tried to do. And you can see it was back in 2024. So this is not new. But what I'm trying to do is make it built into Usage Tap. So just by using Usage Tap or PromptOpsKit, you're going to get this research working for you. And that's what I've sort of done. Let me sort of show you what I've built here. It's a straight API call you want to call, and I built it in a testing wrapper where I can pass in prompts. So you'll sort of see here we have a prompt. If I hit compress on that, what it's going to do is it's going to drop the words that it deems unnecessary, determined by how aggressive you want to be. So you are a support agent. So those URA will be dropped. And preparing concise escalation brief, it's a small win, but it's a win nevertheless. Keep customer IDs, incident dates, URLs, and is unnecessary. And the goal, summarize risk. And see, it's removing those stop words and noise words without changing the meaning of the prompt. So it's still going to act. Now, that's what LLM Lingua 2 does out of the box, is it works out which words can be dropped without changing the context of the message. And it does a pretty good job of doing that. But what I found was often when I injected data in JSON format, JSON is a very verbose format. So before calling LLM Lingua 2, I go through and I look for these JSON segments. And if I detect it, I compress it using, there's a library out there called TOON, which was released open source by Vercel. And what it does is it takes out a lot of the boilerplate JSON stuff and just makes it smaller. And, also I found there were sections of code where I didn't want it compressed at all. So I added special tags around those to block them from being compressed in any way. Now, what this is giving me, just even in this small result there, is a 37% reduction in tokens that are called without changing the meaning of the prompt. And that's sort of the goal of what I want to do here, is find more and more of these boilerplate fixed sections and pass the rest of the text out to LLM Lingua 2, currently out of the box, and then slowly improve it over time. Now, to improve it over time, what I've done is I've built an evaluation test bench here. And what it does is a set of unit tests to check that it's not breaking the meaning and so forth. And you can sort of see it's doing a good job of stable system policy. Your system policy, you don't want to abbreviate. You want to make it short by design, as short as possible. But we certainly don't want to remove its meaning or change its meaning. So we make the system policy more stable. We don't just aggressively compact it. And you can sort of see as we get further down here, I've got a bit of work to do here. In this case, in this example, what's happened is some of important words out of the tool call request, the tool exchange has been altered, and that's not what we want to do. We really want to leave the tool calls alone, especially dates and special numbers and values, right? We want to make sure that the arguments are stable and that that we don't go and compress things we shouldn't do. So over time, I'm going to get all these to green, and then I'm going to go after performance and improve and add more test cases as we go. Now it's up on it's open source, and it's up on GitHub. If you just do a search for prompt compression under predictability at scale, you will find it. If you want to use it now, the best place for you to go out and use it is it's actually out at compress.usagetab.com. And if you go to that URL, you will see everything that I've just done, and I'm deploying it over time, and you can follow along as we move along. So the benefits of prompt compression are, well, speed, because the smaller prompt you send, the faster that you start getting results. Cost, the smaller prompt you send, the less you get charged for input tokens. And 3, the smaller the prompt, the less context rot you get, where unnecessary noisy words or verbose context just dilutes the true message that you want to do. So with that, that's go to compress.usagetab.com and check it out. Do some research and follow along. I'll be posting more of these on the fly. But again, our goal is to build all this technology automatically into usagetab.com, so that as well as getting usage-based billing and cost control for AI apps and agentic APIs, you're going to be able to opt in and get that automatic compressions and the cost savings, because sometimes running apps gets expensive. So with that, thank you. I will be back soon.